Today on the channel, we're back to the NECA Universal Monsters line with the Bride of Frankenstein Black and White Edition with a little help from my dad.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another NECA Universal Monster unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we got the black and white Bride of Frankenstein. But for all your Bride of Frankenstein needs and a whole lot more, make sure you're hitting up Old Entertainment Earth. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10% on all in-stock items. Anything over $79 does ship free. And I got a special guest here today. Of course, if it's a Universal Monster review, we got to call out the big guns. We got to call up the street. We got to get my dad. Dad, thank you for coming once again.
Hey, nice to be here.
Are you ready to do the Bride of Frankenstein all over again?
Yes.
And as we say on the channel all the time, it feels a little bit like we've been here before. It feels a little bit like deja vu. Feels a little bit like Iron Maiden. Oh, deja vu, Somewhere in Time. Check it out. You've probably never heard the Somewhere in Time album from Iron Maiden.
No, I can't say that.
Oh, you add that to your to-do list. Trust me. Trust me. It'll change your life once and for all. And maybe some Angel Witch. You ever listen to Angel Witch?
You know, I've heard of them.
Oh, I bet you have. Oh,
I just haven't got around to listening.
Angel, just check out the song Angel Witch by Angel Witch, and then you're off truly to the races from there. So
it's quite a dichotomy, Angel Witch.
Angel Witch. She's an angel witch. But and speaking of angel witches, we got the Bride of Frankenstein here today. So
it was kind of an angel witch.
Kind of an angel witch, bringing it all full circle. Bam, bam, bam. There you go. But NECA, of course, continues on the Universal Monsters toy line, and just an interesting line that we're both getting a lot of enjoyment out here. And NECA putting on that business hat, as we do know, they make the color versions.
Right.
Now here we are with the black and white version. Now we knew this one was coming, and me personally, I guess I didn't have the super highest expectations about this one. As all honesty, the Bride of Frankenstein, not my favorite. Not my favorite. You like it more than I do.
I would put it in my top 5 of the Universal horror films.
Yeah.
The plot is, quite different than any of the others. A lot of twists and turns. It's funny because last night on Svengoolie, he had the original Frankenstein.
Oh, yes.
Which this is probably the best sequel to a blockbuster movie that I have ever seen.
And I only saw it maybe twice. I saw it way back in the day, and I saw it again maybe in my early 30s, maybe it was 20s. I don't know, but I saw it twice. But I remember it feeling, and I got a lot of hate in the comments. All the hate comments came at me saying, how do you call it? It's like an hour, 10-minute runtime or something, the movie, and I called it a long movie. Well, I didn't mean it long as in it's a 4-hour epic movie. It just kind of dragged for me a lot, especially at the beginning. I remember it dragging until you get to the main event at the end. You get all fired up like a young Tommy Rich. But I don't know. It just never clicked with me. Maybe it will one day. I'll give it another watch.
Well, you have the whole Dr. Pretorius thing in his working with Dr. Henry Frankenstein to make the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting twist. And plus what he's doing with these little people he's created in test tubes. Kind of different. But
yeah.
Yeah, it's a different movie, no doubt.
It's a slow burn. That's how I always felt. So I don't know. And you know what I always say too? You like what you like, you don't what you don't. That's just really what it comes down to at the end of the day. And I don't hate it. I'd watch it over, Aladdin or something like that. I still have never seen a Disney cartoon movie all the way through. I just can't do it. Even as a little kid, I said, I don't got time for this kind of stuff. It's just too kiddie. And I was like 4 years old. Said, nope. Too kiddie for me. So I don't know. But anyways, we're going to do this like we do all the other ones on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. And first off, the artwork on this, absolutely fabulous. And I love that they give us different artwork between the color and the black and white.
Yeah,
they could very easily just give you the same artwork, just do it in black and white and do it in color. They could have easily just done that. Instead, they give us totally different packaging, which I think is really cool and helps, I think, people buy that maybe be on the fence about, am I going to do color? Am I going to do black and white? Maybe I'll just get both because of the differences there. And this figure as well is really good because it is a bit of a 2-in-1 figure. Of course, you get the straight up bride as we know it, and then you get the more mummy look if you want to. And that's what's going to be nice for me in the being a loose collector, where you're still an on-card collector on these, right? You haven't unboxed any of them yet.
That's right.
So for me, I'm going to display one in her full-on regalia one kind of as the Mummy. So I'm going to make a point of difference between the two.
But just remember, the Mummy didn't have a girlfriend.
He
Frankenstein
wanted one.
did.
Yeah, that's true.
For a brief amount of time before he was rejected.
Yeah,
But the Mummy never
did. Hard times for old Mummy out there. One time maybe the Mummy had a girlfriend. Who knows? Who knows? But tough time. Nobody likes those Mummy wrappings. That's the thing.
He had a princess he worshipped, but I don't know that she was really
She wasn't really into him, so that's the way it goes from time to time. This is the way it goes. But there it is, the old Bride of Frankenstein. And first thing I noticed when I look at that picture, I see Frankenstein. So I'm like, oh, it's a Frankenstein one. But definitely looks very interesting on the front. I'm assuming this is an old movie poster, and there was always kind of multiple posters for a lot of these Universal monsters, be it the original theatrical run or later re-released or movie posters. There's a lot of different posters over the years for sure. So looking nice on the front. What's that say here? Anything? Warning, the monster demands a mate. It demands a mate right there.
That's true.
It's an interesting one. Carl Lammel presents Karloff in The Bride of Frankenstein. Ultimate Bride of Frankenstein down there. I like that they kind of use the same font to mix in there like it was meant to be. Universal Pictures, of course. An interesting one. It's got her very psychedelic in the hair thing going on there, too. I don't know what's going on there. But there she is on the side in all of her black and white glory. Same thing on this side, a different one. And then on the back, oh, the many looks of the bride. Oh, the many looks. There it is. And then on the inside, of course, you get the usual. You get the nice glamour shot. You get the plastic. Definitely looking cool. Definitely looking good. We're definitely here for it. We're definitely here for it. But let's get her out of the package. Let's see what's going on. Dare I say, let's see what all the fuss is about. Why don't we do that? So, see you later. Goodbye. There it is. Plastic prison. Oh, she's got some of that silica gel back there. That's some good steak seasoning. I think if I remember right, used to put that on the old steaks back in the day. Used to get that on there and really tenderize that meat up. Pretty good. That. You don't remember that? I'd say, hey, eat that silica gel packet. That'll be good for you, Kyle. Oh. Maybe not. Maybe don't try that at home. Don't try that at home. There we go. Haven't cut my fingers off yet. Can you believe that?
Good.
One of these days, though, it's going to happen. I can feel it. All right, what do we got going on here? You got to be smarter than the package. I learned that at an early age. There we go. All right, let's get some of this stuff out.
Wrappings, hands.
Oh, the worst see you later ever. That was a mess. I'll pop these heads out here. Maybe. Oh, I just broke the tray. Come on. There's that big old Marge Simpson hair on her. There it is.
The old beehive hairdo.
The old beehive. I think we might have talked about that last time.
I think so.
Did you ever remember people wearing that beehive hairdo back in the day?
Absolutely.
It really went on, huh? It was a wild look. It had to take some time.
I wonder. Strange.
I wonder if Marge Simpson was inspired by that hairdo. I don't know.
I would guess.
Could be. Could be.
Yes.
All right, let's dive in here. We're going to start with the accessories, and not a whole lot going on right here. No. So she's got 2 splayed out hands, and then guess what? She comes with 2 more splayed out hands. So if you want to slap, you got 4 chances to do some slapping going there. You know, I like my brides with some fists. I know my wife, she's usually got one fist cocked at all times. You've seen Angie. You got to watch out for that right hook for her. But definitely got these very mummy-like. I could see this if I had all my Universal Monster accessories and extra hands together. Could be easily confused if these are the hands of the mummy.
True.
I mean, that's what it feels like to me. I guess you kind of look a little close. You can look a little closer, and I think you can kind of see some nails in there, maybe. So it is what it is.
Because in the movie, she had very robotic movements, and her fingers, as I remember, were like that. And so those fit the bill.
Tomo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. That's what Dennis DeYoung, I think. Was that his name, Dennis DeYoung?
Yeah,
I think it was. I think it was. I was never a Styx guy, were you?
No.
Not for me. You know, that Styx and Kansas and Boston and the Journey. You like Journey. Journey,
a little bit.
I never went on that
Perry,
journey. I never went on that journey. I don't know. All that kind of stuff kind of blends together for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But Tomo Arigato, Mr. Roboto, I was taking the kids home from school the other day, and they'd never heard that song in their life, and it truly changed their life in a short car trip. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. Now they're all in on Styx. They said, "What's up with this Styx band?" And I said, "Oh, I think they're open for Taylor Swift, so we might go. We'll see what happens." But we get some wrappings. Wrappings, I guess, right here. Definitely interesting wrapping. So, once again, we've seen this before.
Right.
And then we do get the face mask. We'll dive into that. I guess we'll start with the heads now. So, go with the head straight out of the package here. What do we call this look? This is, I just woke up for the first time in my life.
I would say that. Yeah. It's a very ghostly look.
It is.
Ghostly appearance.
It's those big eyes. Like, you get those eyes going. You're like, oh,
hypnotic eyes.
Yes, just like soaking it all in for the first time is what's going on
Right.
there. So definitely interesting. You do got the black and white skin, or I guess the gray skin, whatever you want to call it there. Of course, you got the, what do you call that? The gray on the sides, almost like, it always looks kind of like a lightning bolt to me.
It does.
So you got that, and wasn't there something about that or something? I can't remember. Like, didn't she not have that in the movie, or what was it?
No, they were offset a little.
Oh,
bit.
that's what it was.
They weren't parallel.
That's right. They weren't totally lined up, and we
Right.
get that here. We
Right.
mentioned that last time. So it continues on.
Because like Dr. Frankenstein said, hey, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, at the end of the day, we all strive to be. You know what I always say at work every day? I always tell the team all the time: constant learning, constant improvement. You guys got to constant learning. We got to learn from this, and we got to improve from this. That's what we tell them all the time. And I'm a broken record at work too, so it's Kyle playing all the hits on the conference calls again. That's what happens.
Well, the one thing you learn too, if you're a mad scientist or a mad doctor, you have to hire a hunchback to work with you.
Man, makes sense to me.
In every movie, I mean, hunchbacks must be the greatest apprentices and the greatest helpers on earth because they're in every movie.
Math checks out. Math checks out.
He may have been responsible for that misaligned widow's peak or whatever you call it.
Now, is it true that you were trying to be a mad scientist back in like the 70s, but you couldn't find a hunchback anywhere, so you just cashed it in?
Exactly.
That's what I was. Exactly. There's no hunchbacks in my area, so
There's
I can't.
not one on every corner.
Nah.
You got to look.
The medical sciences got rid of these hunchbacks. They're few
And
and far between.
we didn't have the internet, so how could you find it?
You could at least put an ad out on the internet, and your local paper in some little town. That's not going to do the job.
No.
You're not going to get anybody. You know everybody in town.
And does anybody really say, I am a hunchback? I think I'll answer this ad.
That's
Probably
a deep thought.
not.
That's
Probably
a deep
not.
thought, because does a hunchback believe of himself as a hunchback?
Probably not.
I don't know. I threw my back out, and we talked about it on the channel. I don't know when this video is going to air, but I'm on the mend. I'm getting there. It's a little tight, but that's what happens when you get old. Your back starts hurting.
True.
But I was walking around Walmart like a 90-year-old woman with osteoporosis. Is what I was. It was a bad look. I was almost totally hunched over, and it was bad. And my wife and kids and Angie and the kids were very embarrassed to go with me. They wouldn't even be seen walking with me because I was walking like an old man. I mean, it was. I should have got film of that. Is what, instead of me filming the toy hunt, I should have had somebody filming me trying to do the toy hunt, and that would have probably been my most popular video.
You should just grab one of those automatic carts or whatever they ride. Those little scooter carts.
You know what?
You could have done
I
that.
should have done that. I've always wanted to go there. I would definitely have an excuse, and there would be some good footage of me tooling around the stores. Oh boy, one of these days I'm going to do a video, and it might be coming sooner than later. I think this will be a good video. My top 5 lists. I know you live for them every Thursday. You're like, get that list out there. I can't wait. I'm going to do like maybe a top 10 or multiple top 5 lists of the craziest retail stories of all time. Of stuff I've witnessed and lived in my line of retail, from being a little kid, from 14 years old working in a grocery store, all the way into my 20s or whatever, and then on the other side of the fence is a broker, as a sales rep, merchandiser, exactly whatever I've been throughout my career. And it's about a 30-year career at this point. Everybody's like, how could you be 55 years old? I said, no, I started when I was 10, in all honesty. I started way too early. Child labor laws weren't the thing back then. And you said, Kyle, you're 14 years old. You obviously can walk around. You're not a hunchback. Go get a job. Go get a job. So I did. And I'm going to do it. I got some crazy stories. I think you've heard most of them. Just wild stories of back in the day. Stuff that would never happen in this day and age. But, beating the snot out of people in grocery stores, shoplifters, taking them to town, jumping in garbage disposals, and really turning into a scene from Star Wars when when it was crunching in.
Yeah.
I lived that. I lived that in a garbage disposal at work at one time. Falling off the roof one time. There's stories for days. People dying in front of you in the stores. There was one time I went to Walmart, Indianola, God's country. Shout out to Indianola. Indianola, Simpson College, I think, down there, maybe.
That's right.
And there was a farmer on each end of the Walmart dying of a heart attack. On each end at the same time. And then they had a guy they busted for shoplifting that same day, and he had a huge trench coat, like something out of Scooby-Doo, and he was cutting all the meat out of packages and taking the raw meat and putting it in the pockets of the coat, and they stopped him at the door. And I think that when they pulled it out, it had been full of like lint and stuff. I mean,
Whoa.
I guess it'll grill off. It'll grill off. That's what he thought.
Hard time.
But anyways, one of these days, I got some stories to share, and we'll get down to it. But now let's get back to the bride. Let's get back to the bride.
We should.
We should. It's probably a good idea. But we got the head down here. Now we're going to look at this second head. This is the screaming head. I just saw Frankenstein. I want to be anywhere but here head is what goes on. And yeah, just a crazy, crazy look there. But definitely the most iconic to me when I think of the Bride of Frankenstein, I think of this head. Yeah. I don't know if you're the same way, but that's what I think of. So I think they nailed the likeness on this one. And this is the one, the color one. I'll let you hold that one. That's the head I use on that one as well. Now, one thing I just noticed on that, picking that up, on the side of the head, you got the stitching on the side of the face.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we have it on this side as well. Okay, we do have it on here. So you can see the stitching on the neck, stitching around there.
Just in black.
And it's funny, when I looked this way, I couldn't see it, where you can see that because it's in red. It pops out a little bit more. So there is some differences on those. And then the final head here, you also get the little eye cover mask, is what you got going on, her sleeping mask. But it is the mummy head is what I call this one. You got the staples up at the top holding it all in. She doesn't know what the heck she's getting herself in for, but I don't know how she got all this hair inside of here. Where'd all that hair go? How does that work? I don't know. You feel like the mummy wrapping should be around the hair at the top.
Yeah.
But definitely different. Probably the weakest of the three heads just because there's no real expression with it. But like I said, I'm probably going to display this one with this one. I feel like I need an incarnation of her as that. We'll see what happens. So
what's the nice thing about a beehive haircut? You can compress it under a baseball hat or anything.
I imagine just wearing the hat on the top and it's just sitting there floating on the top of there. But definitely interesting times. Now you do get the beautiful soft robe going on. I love the attention to detail that they gave the gray stitching on the back where you got a little bit more color in that stitching. I don't know, maybe it's the same. Is it the same color?
Close.
It's close, but this one's way more black and white. That's got like
a little greenish tint.
Yeah, so it's like feels like it's color. This feels fully black and white. Of course, the entire body is that mummy wrapping that we're used to, so we know all about that. Articulation, the arms go all the way around for us. Single jointed elbows, hands back, forward, side to side, hands removable, head removable, but it's not the head that's removable. It comes down at the base, so you get a fuller different head removal on this one, so you got to remember that. And then you get down to it, of course, her mummy outfit. She get the big old splits if you need them. Single jointed knees, side to side at the knees, ankles back, forth, side to side. No peg holes. So far, the only Universal Monster figure without peg holes for whatever reason. And then you get the hula hoop at the top there. But she is definitely not Spider-Man. Any Frankenstein incarnation is never going to be Spider-Man. So I'm okay with the articulation here. And I'm not sure if there's a lot of little kids out there that need more articulation. There's not a lot of 10-year-old kids probably looking for a Universal Monster for their figure fed or something like that. At least in my experience. Maybe back in the day. But definitely an interesting one here. Definitely a different look. There's no doubt about it. You get the black and white. You get the color. It really just comes down to your preference. And you guys in the comments, let me know your preference between the two. Dad, I forget. What is your preference? Color or black and white?
You know, I do like color. It's odd because I like the colored figures, but yet I like the movies in black and white. So you like both, for different reasons, but color's always nice.
That is weird because I don't know if I would like the movies, and I don't think they've ever tried to colorize Universal Monsters. And if they did try to do that, obviously I don't think most people would really enjoy it. It'd be cool to watch one time, but you'd always go back to what you knew first. I think is what you would go.
Black and white presents a totally different atmosphere.
And it's
great for horror films.
And it's not as scary back then. I mean, it was scary for the time, but compared to what we see now, and the black and white gives it a little bit more darkness and eeriness than I think if it was in color, especially back then. But I'm in the same boat. I think I prefer the color ones, but I don't know. It goes back and forth a little bit sometimes, but I think I do prefer the color as a whole. I think that's where I'm going to go. That's my final answer, and I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to it. There's no changing. So, any final thoughts on the black and white Bride of Frankenstein?
No, this is a good job by NECA. Just like with the Dracula and the other figures, they nailed the character in the movie. And a lot of figures you see, they're more generic. Yeah. I mean, they're not looking at a particular actor to model it after. And that's why these are so good.
Definitely looks really good. Hitting stores right now. And for me, possibly my least favorite of the Universal. But you got some heavy hitters. You're up against the Creatures, the Frankensteins, the Wolfmans, the Dracula. Those are the heavy hitters. Those are the hits I get played. But definitely have to have this. Definitely have to have this as the Frankenstein surrounding area. We are getting the Frankenstein in his chair. And we're getting another Frankenstein. So we'll be unboxing that. I don't know. Hopefully before year's end. Maybe first of next year that should be coming out. But any day now, the Creature has to be coming out. The color version of the Creature. Definitely all in on that one. Very excited for that one to come out. we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned for that one. So there it is, though, The Bride of Frankenstein. You guys in the comments, let me know which one you prefer between the two. Let me know your thoughts on the Universal Monster line. Are you a completionist? Are you getting all these like we are? Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. And, of course, for early access to videos like this and other content, hit up the old Patreon. Patreon, the best way to support this very YouTube channel and everything it does bring and everything it does bring. And you can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And don't forget social media. SirPaul64 on the X. The _Kyle _Peterson on Instagram and on Threads. That's a mouthful every single time. Every single time. So there you go. So for my dad, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
A lot.
What do you know about the Flash?
Barry Allen?
Yep.
Great man.
Barry Allen. Hit your Walmarts right now. You better get there and get one. Or your Targets. Target exclusive.
I bought a lot of those comics of the Flash. I never bought Superman. I never bought Batman. I think I bought the Flash and Hawkman.
They got a new Hawkman figure coming out. Are you going to get in that one?
I never know. I got all the others.
Might as well get after it. Get after it. Uh-oh.
Carter Hall, which
Carter
is
Hall.
Kartar Hall, the Egyptian name, but the American name is Carter Hall.